My name is Doug Campbell, and I'm with Right Way Options. I've been trading the markets for a long time. That is my ugly mug up there. so you can see it's a body built by trading. I spend a lot of time in front of my computer. And one of my greatest aha moments in trading, I was, and I'm really honest with people. I struggled for a long time in trading. I had a terrible time. I was a losing trader. There's no doubt about it. In fact, I did a video once called Confessions of a Yo-Yo Trader, and I would move up. I'd have periods in the market where I felt like I was brilliant, and then periods where I'd just lose everything back to the market. And I know there's a lot of folks probably listening to me a lot right now that have experienced that or are experiencing that right now. And I was honestly going to quit trading. I was cleaning up my charts. Everything was going away when all of a sudden I had this big aha moment. And, and that was, I was focusing on everything except for what price was telling me. You know, we go around to different webinars and we look at different things and we pick up indicators and we pick up all these different tools and we add so much to the chart that all of a sudden we become very frozen in our trading. And so I got really simple, and I really focus on just a couple of things in the market that has changed my life. Okay, I'm now a full-time trader. I've supported my family now for 13 years as a full-time trader. I absolutely love what I do. Put 2 kids through college from trading profits, and this literally changed my life. So hopefully you find something here that you can latch onto. And this is very simple stuff. First, I became very focused on just what price is telling me. And I have a fundamental belief that there's no easier way to make money in the market than to find a stock that's trending with the direction of the market and just simply waiting for the next entry, following the trend. Now, there was a speaker a couple speakers ago that was talking about how important it is to just follow the trend. And I'm going to show you some trades and how that worked. Now, I believe in very simple charts. I use a chart that I call a naked chart. And that is a chart where I don't have any indicators on it whatsoever. I do an awful lot of drawing on the chart, but what I'm doing is focusing directly at price action. And here's a trade that we actually took in Right Way Options. This right in here was an entry. These little lines right here were alerts. And we traded this several times over the course of the year. Entered this trade, very simple entry into the position using an option. At the end of the trade, we'd made 150%. Okay, now what you're seeing on there, these little green dots and red dots on the screen, is a very simple indicator. It's not parabolic SAR. It's called the volatility stop indicator. And I'm going to, that link that I give you, one is for an ebook. And in that ebook, there is the code to set that up in Thinkorswim and a PDF on how to put it in if you use TC2000. You'll have to reverse engineer it for anything else, but I'll show you the settings of it here in just a second. And everyone has access to this indicator. It's a very simple indicator. And what I wanted to do, and what I've always wanted to do, is find a way that I could trade a chart very effectively without having to sit in front of my screen all the time. I wanted the lifestyle of the trader. I didn't want to have to be nailed down to a screen all the time watching every little candle wiggle that goes on during the day. I wanted to be able to put in my trades and be able to set a stop and move with the direction of the market. Now, here's another trade in XLE. Very simple trade. We made 135% profit on it. And all we're doing is following a trend. Following how we've moved, the stock has moved, and it's starting to trend and move in a direction. We'll talk about that here as we go along. So as I was building this strategy, I had several things I was thinking about. First, I believe price is king. There's nothing out there more important than following price. If you think about all the indicators that are ever created, it's going to require price to have already moved. It's going to require volume, and it's going to require time passing. That means all indicators are going to be lagging. And if we can learn to just follow the price action, we can do much, much better in our trading. And it's very simple. It's easy to do. It takes a little bit of time to learn to read price action, but it's very efficient and it's repeatable. Anybody can learn to pick this up. And so when I put this together, and I actually, in the ebook that you have, and by the way, it's a direct download. You guys don't even have to register for the ebook. In the ebook, there's links to several PDFs. And there's also a link to my YouTube channel where there's a 5-part video series right now on this strategy, because I can't teach you everything here in 29 minutes, but I can give you some backup information to show you that it works. And so go to that YouTube channel, it's free, and take a look at that. So first off here, it's called the volatility stop indicator, and you can see it's just nothing more than an average true range indicator. And I use a 10 period, 1.5 multiplier in this setup. And it produces these very good, it's a very good aid for those of you that are struggling to find support, resistance, and trend. And if we can find support, resistance, and trend, and watch for those buyers and sellers to step in during those periods, we can trade very effectively. And so that's what this indicator does. And I spent a year in testing it. And I'll tell you what happened. My win-loss ratio went from where I was struggling, somewhere around 50-50 trader in my win-loss ratio, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. It's just through the management of those trades that I was actually profitable. Well, using this, my win-loss ratio jumped up, and I averaged somewhere between about 67 and 80% winners over losers, just following price action. And it works on any time frame. Now, I use one scan basically for this, and here's the code for TC2000. Don't worry about writing that down or screenshotting it. If you get the ebook, it's in the ebook, and you can get everything on how to set up this scan in the ebook. But it's basically one scan. It's very efficient, and I find great trades. Now, here's a stock that's happening. This is happening right now. And I like to give you guys, everyone, an example. I don't want to just show you history. I want to show you what's possible right now. Here's a stock in DK, and you can see we have this nice little trend. Now, anytime you see these pink lines, those pink lines, I've started color coding them for anyone that's a member. They can quickly see when they look at my chart that was a price alert or is a price alert. I'm waiting for the price to trigger. So literally, I find these patterns ahead of time. I set an alert, and I make the trade come to me. Now let me show you what this looks like with a volatility stop on it. And the volatility stop is just that aid that helps me identify that I'm on the right side of the trade. So what we want to do to follow this system is really simple. We want to make sure that we're moving with the trend and the trend of the market. Okay, so the stock is moving up and trending, and we're going to wait for the next entry into the trade. So whenever you find this trend, and it doesn't matter where you find the trend, how long it's been in a trend, we just wait for the next entry into that trend. And you can see how these are very effective entries, very simple swing trades to move us up. And if you look right here, this is happening right now. At the close of today, this could easily trigger another move higher right now. Okay, here's a trade that's happening right now as well. This is a biotech stock. These are biotechs, as you know, are kind of high risk trades. There are a lot of volatility in them. You have to pay attention to them pretty closely, but you can see what we're doing is following the trend. Now, once again, I'm going to throw that volatility stop indicator on there and show you how we're looking at these. So let me define this just a little bit for you. When we go red on the indicator, the red is showing us price resistance. Okay, price resistance here is something we want to avoid. We don't want to buy at price resistance. We want to buy at price support. Okay, so we could have entered down here near price support. Notice we moved up, pulled back to the trend, entered near price support here on this trigger that I placed here. So we wait for that pullback to occur, and then we also wait for the buyers to step in. No predicting here. I do no predicting. You guys can watch my daily videos on the YouTube channel where I go over the market, and I don't do any predicting at all. I try to remove the bias and simply follow a chart that's moving and just get in that move at the right time with a low risk entry point and follow it along. Now, if you entered this trade, let's say you entered like I did here on this candle, the volatility stop also gives us a clue as to where, because it's showing us support, resistance, and trend, where we should set our stop loss. If you're struggling with how to set a stop loss, you can throw that on there and have a general idea of where you should place the stop loss. Now, I'm always going to tell you that you need to use that volatility stop plus the price action of the chart to set your stop. But that can help you a lot in guiding you. And if you're new to trading or if you're struggling, this can help you define a very simple system of trading. And it works consistently. It works over and over and over again. Now, here's a chart that fired an alert today, ANF. You can see we've been moving up in this trend. We broke through the resistance here. We held as support, and buyers stepped in today. So we're picking this up and moving with this stock where we have a very low risk of our entry in our trade. We don't know if it's going to be work. We both all know that this is a very choppy market. And I can't guarantee you that this trade is going to work or be a profitable trade. But what I can tell you is I've entered it at a very low risk place. And now I can just set my stop and manage this trade and let that trade work. And some of these turn into phenomenal trades. Now, I know some of you are day traders. I'm not a day trader. I spent years day trading futures, and I got to tell you, I don't like it. I've never wanted to be strapped to a computer. I became a trader to enjoy the lifestyle. If I want to take my wife to lunch or go play with the dog or something like that, I want to do that. And so I want to be able to trade and still have a life. And so I don't do any day trading, but I know a lot of you are probably wondering, does this work on a short-term chart? Well, here's a recent chart. You can see this is just April 2nd right here. April 2nd in this chart. And you can see how we flipped over to a short. Okay, we went from green to red, showing us resistance. We wait for that rally back to resistance and a failure pattern to get short. So there's an entry here. There's an entry here, 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 and following that trend all the way down. You didn't have to buy it at the perfect spot. You could have entered in any of those locations and followed that trend on the 5-minute chart. And it just shows us where our stop is. Every 5 minutes, move your stop loss and adjust to that trade. How do I draw the pink line? The pink line, this is TC2000. They have some really good drawing tools on there, and it's very, very simple. There's a drawing tool, and I just drop those lines in, and I can place the alerts on TC2000. Do I have the TOS code for Bill? Bill, yes, I do have the TOS code. If you download the ebook, okay, there's a PDF close to the back of that ebook. There is a link to a PDF where you can download the instructions on how to set up this indicator in Thinkorswim charts, as well as the entire code. All you have to do is copy and paste the code into Thinkorswim, and it'll work for you. Okay, so it works on short-term charts. Very, very simple. Also works on long-term charts. This is a weekly chart. Whoops, I got a mistake up here. This is a weekly chart. I know that because we actually traded this in right way options right here in this little green arrow. We entered the trade right here using a leap option. We sold calls, covered calls against that leap option for a long time. Long story short, when we finished up the trade, we made a 99% return on the position. Notice how simple it is to just follow this trend. Oh, absolutely, Bill. Absolutely. Glad to help. Just follow the trend. So here is what this ebook looks like. It's nothing fancy. Okay, nothing fancy. It's only 14 pages. Heck, I'm an old framer, construction guy. I used to build houses for a living. So it's nothing fancy. It's about 14 pages long. Gives you a bunch of information, and it has all these bonuses in here, plus the videos that I've already created for YouTube, where you can go and access the full training on this. And I use this virtually every day. Now, not so much for me because I've learned to identify charts without that volatility stop on there. I've learned to identify the price patterns. But I know that's not realistic for most people. For most folks, they're still struggling with that support, resistance, and trend. When to enter. I answer that question 100 times a week. Help me figure out how to enter a trade. Help me figure out where to put my stop loss. And if you can learn to read that price action and learn to follow price action, then rather than trying to predict it, it's very comfortable. All we have to do is get in and let the trade work if we enter at the right time. And you can see how beautifully this trend worked and how many times this was a possible long trade. Very, very simple to do. The other thing I've got here for you is I do something kind of unique in the industry. Even though I'm an options trader, I also trade stock. If I trade anything, I share it with the members. I don't hide anything. I don't even want to hide anything. I share every single trade I make, win, lose, or draw. As a matter of fact, I trade an account directly in front of everyone in the hit and run candlesticks room. I don't make any trades in that account unless people are watching me do it. Okay, so it's all up front. Last year, we made a 98% return in the account. So far this year, we're way behind where we were last year, but the market's been pretty crummy. We're up 13% so far this year in the account. Okay, so complete honesty, complete exposure to what I do. I don't have any, I'm just like you guys. I'm a trader and I want to help other traders be successful at trading. And I discovered a simple way to do that. So if you guys have any interest in that whatsoever, the other link that I provided is a link to our 30-day trial. Now you could sign up for that 30-day trial and get full access to what we do for 30 days. It's going to cost you $14. We used to do it for free, but we actually had people, gaming the system. So we put a little charge on it to prevent those from gaming the system. And unfortunately, just a few people that messes it up for everyone. But for $14, you have access to everything that we do. Now, what I do is 2 hours every day, every market day, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern time, 11 a.m. Eastern time, I do 2 hours of live training every single day where I trade in front of folks, where I go over strategies, indicators, whatever people are asking questions on. We cover trades. We're looking for new positions. We're managing positions. And by the way, every single day, the trades that we're in, I work with the members. We manage those trades right in front of everyone. We cover every single position that we're in, and I share every stock position that I'm in as well. Okay, and you get that for $14. Now, also on Saturdays, which this Saturday, I am doing an e-learning session. The e-learning session will be at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. And we're going to be covering actually entries, stop losses, trade planning, because I continuously get that question. And so we're going to be covering that this Saturday. So I spend a lot of time directly with the members. And we work hard together. And that's the thing that I think is really different about what we do at Right Way Options. I consider everyone as a member. They're part of the team. And we're all working together to help each other improve as a trader. So if you guys have any interest in that, please take a look